I know Chuck's awesome, but we're gonna do a workout now, okay? So things we're gonna start with today, we're gonna do some single arm banded rows, we're gonna be doing some goblet squatting, and we're gonna finish things out with a bear position plank. So let's talk about the single arm banded row. I have my band set up around the rig, it's a little easier for me to set this up, with a pole. You can have a pole or banister in your house, or you can do the doorknob trick to get this set up. But we're going to be offsetting our feet, so whatever hand is pulling is going to be the opposite, or same side leg goes back. We're going to be squeezing this glute here for a little stability. We're going to be primarily working on this lat here. So I'm going to grab onto my band. You can grab over top like how I have here, or you can go inside the band this way. Whatever feels most comfortable for you. But we're going to be pulling the band to you, getting your elbow to go back, hopefully finding a little bit of lat here. Remember, your shoulder blade should be squeezing back behind you, slowly working it out in front of you. Hopefully there's a little bit of tension at the bottom here. We don't want it to be completely loose, how it is here. So make sure there's a little bit of tension there. We're going to be pulling it back, shoulders. Again, control the movement, not the elbow. All the way, reaching and pulling. Remember, your elbow is going to stay at about a 45-degree angle outside your body. You don't want it to be out here. I don't want it to hug either, so it's going to be a little bit of an angle. Okay, so make sure you hit both sides on that one. Okay, we're going to go back over to squatting. So regular goblet squats, if you have any kind of weight in your house, double bag, cans of food, your dog, anything that weighs the appropriate amount. We can always hold that if you have some. If not, you can completely do this without doing any weight. But goblet squatting, we're going to be having the belt up by your chest here. We don't want the belt to touch your chest, but it should be close to it. We're going to engage here using a little bit of weight. That way you're not holding it with your elbows or your shoulders. We're then going to squat down to parallel, hopefully. So, all the way down, find a good depth, push through your heels, stand yourself back up. Again, finding quad primarily there. If you need it, if you use the ramps here in the studio, you can always grab books or anything to stack your heels up on. That way you get a little bit more depth out of that squat if you need it. For those of you looking for a little bit more of a challenge on the squat, we can do 5-second eccentrics. Okay, eccentric means the down portion of the squat. So as I go down, I'm going to count to 5. So we're going to go breathing in, out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then up. Okay, so again, breathing in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then back up. Those are not going to be great, so forewarning. Last one here, the third exercise is going to be a bear position plank. So getting down on all fours or tabletop, a quadruped, whatever you're going to call it. We're going to sit up here, pushing away from the floor, making sure those shoulders stay away from our neck. Okay, so don't let them come up this way. Make sure they stay down. From here, pushing through the floor, so pushing up, till your knees come off the floor a little bit. We're going to hold and breathe here. If at any point you start feeling more quad here, you're probably leaning back a little too far, just lean a little bit forward, and you should get mostly abs here, okay? So, breathing in, out, set those rib cages down, pick the knees up, hold and breathe. Okay? If at any point this gets a little easy, you can always add a leg lift, so you can always take one leg away. Back down. Okay? And if that is still not as challenging as you'd like it to be, you can always add the arm lift. So, getting everything set up. Okay, back and forth, nice and controlled. If you still feel like you can keep that control and you can go in like this, just stick with the leg lift. Be plenty challenging for that. Cool? Thanks, guys. What's up, Moving Form? We're going to go ahead and go over today's B portion. So we're going to start today's off with a half kneeling overhead press with a band, a dumbbell or kettlebell. Then we're also going into a half kneeling press, so hitting your pec there. Then we're going to finish things out with a glute bridge on the box on the floor. Okay? So, if you're using a band, you can always put the band underneath your knee here. If you need more tension, you can always create more by dragging the band inside. That'll make it harder to pull up, okay? So, or push up rather. So, find a good tension for you, whatever you might need. I'm going to loop the band around my hand like so, grab onto the band. I'm going to get ready here, so elbow should be about 45-degree angle outside your body, so we don't want to be out here. We don't want to be closed in either, so somewhere kind of in the middle. Abs should be on, find a little bit of glutes. I'm going to press the band up overhead. As you do so, make sure you're not rib flaring here, so we don't want to be extending to the lower back, keeping those abs on. Again, finding a little bit of lat on the way down, slowly working it down, and then again, right back up. As I go up, I'm going to try to keep my bicep near my ear here, not touching necessarily, but just in the same line. That way you're not leaning forward or off to the side somewhere weird, just staying right overhead. Okay? So again, on the way down, try your best to find that lat. If you have a dumbbell, you can certainly use that. You can always do the normal way, so pressing up over your head, again coming on down, find that little bit of lat, and then again going up right overhead. Again, just watching out for that rib flare. If you have a kettlebell and don't have a dumbbell, you can still use it. Just be aware that when you rack this up, it's not going to feel great on your wrist. So if you can get, if you're okay with that, certainly use it. But if not, see if you can use a band or the dumbbell if you have one. So from the half kneeling overhead, we're going to go into a half kneeling band press now. So I'm going to tie the band around the pole here. If you have a door frame, you can always, or a door knob rather, you can always use that, or something sturdy in your house to hook that onto. We're going to then get into a half kneeling position. So whatever hand is pressing, that knee's going to go down. I'm also going to squeeze this glute here to find a little bit of tension here, so keep it a little more stable. From here, I'm going to press the band out into space in front, hopefully doing my best to find my pec here, slowly working the band back. And then again, on the way out, or way in rather, I'm going to be able to find some lat, okay? It won't be like a pull down, it won't be like a burning lat, but it should be a little stable there. That way we're not getting it all into your shoulder here, okay? So pushing that band out into space, finding and squeezing that pec, slowly working it back, and again, right back out. Again, tempo for all these movements will make these harder. So if you don't have a heavy enough band, you can certainly just slow the pace down a little bit. Take 2, 2, 2, if you wanted to. 2 seconds out, 2 second pause, 2 seconds in, or your own crazy combination of those numbers. You can always go 1 second out, 3 second hold, and then a 3 second in. You know, you guys make it up to whatever you like to do. So make sure you load both sides on both exercises, right and left arm. From there, when you're done with those, we're going to go ahead and get right into a glute bridge. So I will show you a floor bridge first, then we'll talk about feet elevated, and then we'll go into back elevated. So floor bridge, going to be hanging out on the floor. We're going to then push to our heels, find a little bit of glute. If you can find your butt here first, do that, and then scoop your hips off the floor, kind of like you're tilting your pelvis toward yourself. So kind of scooping up like this. Should hopefully get you some glutes firing here. When you feel those, we're going to lift the hips up into the air. Again, not overextending, being careful of getting into your lower back. Slowly working your hips back down on the floor, keeping everything engaged, abs, glutes, everything working, going right back up, and again, back down. If you want to, you can always go feet elevated. So, feet on the box or a bench or a table, whatever you got, coffee table, something at home. We're going to then make sure we're pushing down into the object, not away. We're not doing a leg press, right? So pushing down, finding those little bit of glutes, getting those things to work. Going all the way up. Again, watch out for the overextending. So we're getting into lower back here. Slowly working it back down to the floor. And again, re-engaging right back up to the top. Okay? Last variation of that one, if those two aren't doing it for you, you can always go back elevated on your couch or box or whatever you're using. Back elevated is going to be bottom of your shoulder blade should be at the edge of the box. We're going to then hinge from your hips and not from your back. So when you're going back into your back elevated, we don't ever want to touch your head to the box or the thing behind you. It just is going to be a lot easier for you to get into your back that way. So instead of doing that, we just hinge here and rather not here. It'll do something like this, and that keeps us from getting it here and getting it more in here. So again, slowly working it back down to the floor. Pushing down to the floor through your heels, keeping your feet flat, driving up, find your butt, and again coming right back down. You can always load things up with a backpack full of books or cans, or grab a dog, get a person to sit on your lips, whatever you want to do. Okay? So all three of those, 15 minutes, guys, and then of course we have our finisher. So don't get too excited. All right, buddy, you made it to your finisher. All right, today's finish is going to be some RDLs and mountain climbers, or we can do some swinging and some planks. So both are great options. We're going to be doing a RDL and a mountain climber first. So RDLs, again, make sure you're hinging at your hips and finding your hamstrings, not your lower back. Keeping everything engaged as far as abs go, so make sure you're breathing and intentionally making sure you're finding some tension through here. That way we can get less tension back here. Okay, so hinging at the hips, butt will go back to the wall behind you. Keeping your feet flat, breathing in through your nose, finding that tension, breathing out. They come to the top, finding, squeezing my glutes. Make sure we're not overdoing it by swinging your hips forward. We don't want to do this and hang out here at the top. This is an exaggeration. You won't look like this, but maybe you'll look like this. And you won't really realize you're doing it until you feel like, oh, my back's kicking in. So just make sure we're not doing that. So hips going back, forward, back, forward, okay? So we'll do a round of the RDLs. Now it is right into a mountain climber. Of course you can use on the floor. Remember, the lower you go, the more intense the mountain climber is going to get. Higher you go, a little bit less challenging. So if they need to have that happen, please find a couch or a box or anything you can put your hands on. That will keep you elevated. But when you grab onto the object you're using, get into a plank position, make sure we're over top of the box. We don't want to be way out here. So, over top of the box, bring the knee in and back down, knee in and back down. You make that a little more intense, okay? Like running and jogging in place there, okay? So, that's one option. Other option is going to be a swing. Again, if you're not swinging in class, probably shouldn't do it without any kind of supervision. But sometimes you got to YOLO. You only live once, right? But swinging, if you're doing that, we're going to either start from this position on the floor. We're going to hike the kettlebell back. Again, similar to your RDL, we're still hinging at the hips while we're doing the swing. It's going to be kind of like doing a really aggressive glute bridge, right? So you come through, you're finding, squeezing your butt, and then coming back down. So shoulders stay down, finding your lats, pushing through, find your butt. Okay, not a whole lot of shoulder involved here. Make sure we're not going way up here. Okay, unless you have some really strong glutes and you can, get it going that way. But we're gonna go from the kettlebell swing right into a plank. So hopping on down. Again, I like to go forearms, digging into the turf here. Make sure I can find some lats here. Pushing through, making sure we're not caving in. So pushing through, find your butt, hold, breathe. It's going to be super easy after all the swings you just done. So I imagine you'll be here for at least a half hour, I would imagine. So work on that, 100 swings, half hour, time at a time for the planks. And we'll go about 10 sets. Cool.